Okay, once again, the third Sunday of the month, we welcome everyone to Matri Satsang of Sri Anandamayi Ma. And I have to give this disclaimer first. Sorry, I'm seeing what's going on here. We are recording this and we do post it to our YouTube channel, which is Anandamayi Ma Satsang West, so people can reference it later. So if you participate, you will be recorded, but we hope that doesn't dampen anyone's enthusiasm to participate. And we will have a open sharing later on in this session. And because this is devotees, this is family, this is community, and people who watch it are people who are interested in Ma. So we're all one family in Ma. So let's think for a moment what we are doing here. What are we doing here? As I always say, Ma said many times we can't even think of her unless she thinks of us first. So she has thought of us, she has called us, and we are responding in whatever way we can. And we are here to remember her, to think of her life, to study her words, to invoke her presence and feel her presence. And Ma is the perfect tool and combination of bhakti yoga, the yoga of devotion, because when we think of her, our mind is taken out of our little loop of self-involved thought thinking. And the very thought of Ma, the very thought of saying, oh Ma, just remembering her name, opens us up to this greater totality of life. She was the embodiment of unitive consciousness, of God existing everywhere in everything. She was the embodiment of that. So when we just think of her, our mind expands, our consciousness expands. So she both gives us the tools to use by her teachings, by how things she recommends to do, and then by the very thought of her, by the very invocation of her, she empowers us to experience those states of consciousness. And she is very accessible. So I like to always start, no, first, sorry, I always get everything mixed up. Since we are here together, one of our main reasons of having this satsang is to have community with each other, because this is so important. And Ma stressed this many times. It's satsang, community with devotees, where we meet with like-minded people of like hearts, open hearts directed towards Ma, and we remember her together. This is so important. So I ask your patience, and we have, what do we have? We have 20 people right now. When Renu, I'll introduce people, and then when Renu calls on you, we'll introduce everyone. So first, I want to introduce my co-host, Prajna Hallstrom, who has written now many books about Ma, and hosts our Matri Satsang in the Boston area. So Prajna, will you say hello?
Chai Ma, everybody. So good to see you. Um, Feeling very excited about our community and it's one thing that's happening that's so much fun is people are writing me of the experiences they're having reading the new book, Ma's new book, The Gospel of Sri Anandamayi Ma. And when I get these emails about people having experiences just hearing Ma's words, it just makes me so happy. So that's been a wonderful thing over the last few weeks. It's beautiful to see you, Jay Ma.
Hey, Ma. So we'll be reading from Prajna's book and talking about it more later on too. And our technical co-host is Renu Chaudhary. So Renu, will you introduce yourself?
Hey,
Wait,
Ma.
wait. Well, let's do it because I always forget until last, and then I forget. And on my left is my beautiful wife and soul partner,
Gemma.
Gloria. Sriram Kaur, also Jyoti. Okay.
Gemma.
Now, okay, Renu, please say hello.
Welcome, Gloria. Thank God you got top billing this time. It's Renu here, and happy to be here. And Mangala Nandaji, thank you so much for your grounding us into the space. That was really moved me a lot. So thank you so much. And I'm here in Fremont, California, and I'm gonna go down our participant list one at a time in alphabetical order, and you can just unmute and welcome yourselves.
Yeah, at this time, since we have a lot of people, please just say who you are and where you're from. If you have a short to say, fine. let's kind of get through it all. Then later we'll have open sharing where we can have more time with each other. Okay.
Okay, our first participant on the list here is Katya.
Jai Ma, Jai Ma. This is Katya, joining from Portugal, Madeira Island. Very happy to be with you. Jai Ma.
Jai Ma, and welcome from Portugal.
Jai Ma, welcome. We're looking forward to your kirtan. Next, we have Arpita Ji. Arpita and Robert, probably.
Hello, Jai Ma. Jai Ma. We are living in Delray Beach, Florida. That's it. You got it.
Jai Ma, good to see you.
Thank you.
I also received Diksha from Ma. That's a wonderful thing.
Jai Ma, welcome both.
Oh
of you.
yeah, also I got the book. I got the second volume, so
Good, good.
I read a little each night. Okay, enough said. Okay.
Welcome. Next, we have Carlos Estrella.
Jai Ma, this is Carlos from Florida. Good to see you.
Good to see you, Carlos. And nice to talk to you recently.
Likewise. Thank you, Mangalanandaji.
Welcome. Next, we have David and Linda.
Yes, we are David and Linda in Williamsburg, Virginia. And David has started to read Prajna's book.
Good.
Helpful.
Always good to see you. Faithfully here every month. It's really wonderful.
Habit creatures.
Welcome. Next, we have David.
David, you there?
David,
You have to unmute. Look in the bottom left of your screen and just push unmute.
So, David Slyer, Jai Ma, I'm from San Diego.
Welcome, David. Always good to see you.
Thank you. Thank you.
welcome. Next, we have, let's see here, Frank and Denise.
From Oregon.
Jai Ma, this is Frank and Denise from Hermiton, Oregon. Jai Ma. Glad to be here.
Good to see you, Frank.
Jai Ma, welcome to you both. And next, we have Gabriel. Or Gabrielle, maybe?
Gabrielle. He's coming down from the angelic plane. It takes a while to make a connection. Are you there, Gabrielle? Okay, well, welcome.
Okay, welcome from the heavenly realms. Next, we
We'll respond with you too.
Janet and David.
Jai Ma.
Jai Ma, Jai Ma.
From Florida.
Good to see you guys always. We miss you.
Yeah.
It's good to see you guys. Welcome. Next, we have Joel Huntner.
Joel?
Hi, I like to go by the name Reed.
Oh yeah, Reed.
Reed in Berkeley, glad to be here.
Good to see you, Reed. Reed was at our kirtan we were telling you about.
Yeah.
What was it, last weekend? Last Saturday.
Saturday.
Yeah.
Reed makes the most amazing hibiscus tea. Just
And
FYI.
Ginger.
Good to
Welcome.
see you, Reed.
Next, we have, let's see, Julia from Canada.
Jai Ma, everyone. Julia, and I'm on the shores of Georgian Bay in Ontario, Northern Ontario. Thank you.
Good to see you, Shama.
Jai Ma.
Shama also received Diksha from Ma. So we have several people here who are with Ma in person.
Welcome, Shama or Julia. And next, we have Kathleen Kirchner.
Can you unmute Kathleen?
Better.
Here we go.
Kathleen from Stanhope, New Jersey. Jai Ma.
Jai Ma, Kathleen, welcome.
Thank you.
Jai Ma, welcome, Kathleen. And next, we have Martha and Harold.
Jai Ma. Martha and Harold from Wauwatosa, Wisconsin.
Welcome from Wisconsin. Very good. Jai Ma. Glad you come.
So Mangalanandaji, Martha is the person who met Ma through Shraddha's movie.
Well, that's right. That's right. Yes. Oh, and Martha, let me. Oh, I will forget. You talked about. We're getting an echo there. We talked about the little Gopala that Ma was holding in the movies.
Yes.
And Shraddha gave that to me, and I had it for a while, and then I donated it to Swami Guru Sharananda at Ma Sharanam Ashram, and now they have him. He has Gopala in the Krishna shrine at the ashram in India, so that's where that went. I had it for a while, and now he has it. And Ma named it Sundar Gopal, beautiful Gopal. Every time Shraddha came to India, Ma, she would give it to Ma. Ma would hold it and play with it and everything. It's very sweet. So that's too.
I'd like to know, since I'm a historian, I would like to get that information from you, actually, where it is. But she did take the lei off of her head of the marigolds and put it around the Gopala. And that was the marigold that Shraddha gave me, which I still have on my altar. From that Gopala. It's very precious, obviously, to me. It's in a little oval box. And pictures of me eating marigolds out of the trash when I was 1 year old. So marigolds are very important to me. But I really appreciate that. I'd love to, get that from you and perhaps see it in person. And I did track the video, but the video that's on the website of that event where Shraddha gave the Gopala to Ma, and the Ma went into Samadhi. For those of you who may not know, that Ma went into Samadhi. And I remember the video from far back that Joe was taking the video, and the girls went like this, thinking that she had left her body forever. And, so anyway, I didn't find it. I found the same video on video number 3. So I'd love to know, Acharya, if that maybe there's another video, the one that I actually was shown by Shraddha and Satya in 1983, because it was further back and you could see the whole thing. It's very different.
Christopher Pegler, he has them all. I had the originals of all her visit videos for a while. Now they're just, but she put them on digital. Anyway, let's talk about it later on during the sharing.
Okay, that sounds great. Thank you.
Good. You're welcome.
Okay, welcome. Next we have Valerie Lambert.
Ma, Guru Ma, hello everyone, and I'm visiting from the southwest of France, where it's 10 o'clock p.m. Hello from Europe. Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Valerie, were you there today at the 6 o'clock satsang?
Oh no, I wasn't.
Oh, okay. I thought maybe I was seeing you there. Okay.
Well, thank you for staying up late. You and Kathy are staying up late. I think maybe Hari Priya will be here too from Germany. Thank you for staying up late to be with us.
Okay, welcome, Valerie. And next, let's see, go down the list again. Michael Zeev.
Hi, I'm Michael from Sebastopol, California, but I'm in the Chicago area right now. Jai Ma.
Jai Ma, good to see you. And we'll be singing in Sebastopol next month, October 14th.
Great.
Hey.
Good to see you, Michael.
Good to see you. Next we have Dr. Murad.
Jai Ma, everyone. So good to be back. Love from Boston. Jai Ma.
Good to see you, Dr. G. Jai Ma.
Jai Ma, welcome. Next we have Patty Ayers.
Hi, I'm Patty. I'm in Colorado, and it's great to be with you all.
Very happy to see you, Patty. Welcome, Jai Ma.
Thank you.
Welcome, Jai Ma. And next we have Randy Jordan.
Randy from Western Massachusetts, and with my sister from the Kripalu days back in the 80s here. So I'll introduce her.
I'm Kaya from Laguna Beach, California. Jai Ma.
Jai Ma.
Do you know the Kali Mandir down there, Swami Bhajananda?
Yeah, I actually I have not been there yet, but it's it's on my to-do list to go have darshan there. Yes.
Very wonderful place. Give them my love. I've known them for like 25 years. Very authentic, just a small house, but a very authentic temple in Sampradaya. Yeah, good. Well, welcome both of you. Jai Ma.
Thank you. Jai Ma.
Jai Ma.
Welcome, Randy and Kaya. Next, we have Sarah, Yana, and Hope from Hawaii.
You guys there? Aloha.
Good morning.
There you are. Oh, good to see all three of you.
Emma.
Aloha, welcome, Jema. And next we have, let's see here, I gotta scroll back. Saraswati, Barbara. Haney.
Hello, everyone. I'm traveling from a retreat in the Poconos where I was with my teacher, Prem Sadashivananda. So I am in the car, obviously. I will be turning off my camera, but listening and sending all my love. Jai Ma.
Oh, thank you. Good to see you, Saraswati. I'm glad hope you had a great retreat too.
Jema, welcome. And next, finally, we have, I thought there was this person named Vicky. Oh yeah, Vicky is the last one that I can see.
Hello, I'm in Florida. Jai Ma.
Jai Ma, Vicky, welcome.
Thank you.
Okay, I think that's everyone. Has anyone not been introduced?
Gabriel has just come back in and we can see him now.
Oh, okay.
Hello. Can you hear me?
There you are.
Okay. Hi, Jai Ma.
Where are you
Gabriel in
from?
Seattle.
Seattle. Welcome, Jai Ma. Very good. So, well, I think some new people are here. I'm the only one that has been introduced. If you don't know me, my name is Mangalananda, and I received Diksha from Ma in 1973 and traveled with her in 73, 74, and have been living her ashrams basically ever since. And I was sent by Ma's main Swami Bhaskaranandaji back to India in 2001. I lived there for 12 years in Ma's ashram in Omkareshwar, Indore. And I was given the title of Acharya, which means just a teacher of the ashram's teachings. So that's kind of my authority to do this if we need such a thing. And I was encouraged to share these teachings as much as possible, whenever possible. Okay, good. So I always like to start with Ma's words of reassurance that she is always with us and always hears us, that she was definitely here before we got here. And she, even though her body is no longer physically present in the world, these great ones always leave their presence through their name, through their teaching, through their form. And we can always contact them. And Ma is very much aware of us. So here are some of Ma's own words assuring us. She says, I am ever with each one of you, wherever you happen to be. But your vision is tied down to worldly matters and you have little time to direct your eyes to this body and your thoughts and actions. What can I do? This is one reason we have Mati Satsang. Give her some time. But know it for certain that whatever you do in thought and deed, whether you are near or in distant lands, never escapes my loving attention. Just as at a flash of torchlight, your faces gleam forth in their bold outlines, all your facial expressions appear in my mind when you meditate on me or talk about me or sit down to pray to me. So she sees each one of us right now in her eternal vision, her infinite vision, consciousness. You know, Ma usually referred to herself as this body, Yeshariya, because she sometimes said I, but not very often. So she says, for this body, the question of accepting or declining anyone does not arise. At all times and under all circumstances, in inspiration and in dryness, this body remains and ever will remain with everyone. She goes on, solely for you is indeed everything that this body says or does, its actions, movements, its going hither and thither. Whatever is done is for your sake. On any time, it is you who cause it to happen. So Ma came for our spiritual fulfillment. She says, goes on, this is Ma speaking, but she says, in all your activities, in your sadhana, Ma is with you. With perfect repose, sit still, thinking, in the midst of emptiness, Ma is with me. This will give you ananda, bliss. Whether you meditate quietly or laying down, feel, Ma is with me at every single moment. And she says, for one who knows me, I am one with him. For one who wants to know me, I am very near to him. For one who does not know me, I'm a beggar before him. And a beautiful thing, she says, anyone calling out for God from any land, in any language, and in any age, remember their cries reach this heart like waves crashing onto the shore. So Ma hears this and is aware of this very much. So we are going to intellectually study Ma and her words and her life, but let's start by tuning into her with our hearts. And the wonderful way to do that is through music. So let's just sing this simple kirtan we wrote for our ashram in India, which is called Ma Sharanam Ashram. And it simply has the words, O Ma Sharanam, Anandamayi Ma. So Sharanam means a place of refuge, a place of calm and peace and steadiness. So we just think of Ma and feel Ma's presence with us. And Katya has been singing this, but don't worry, she's going to sing the second kirtan this time.
You do the sound?
Thank you. Thank you. Rainu is my external. Okay. Om Ma Sharanam, Om Ma Sharanam, Om Ma Sharanam, Om Ma Sharanam. Together. Om Ma Sharanam, 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 Om Ma Sharanam. Anandamayi Ma, 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 Anandamayi Ma. Anandamayi Ma, 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 Anandamayi Ma. Anandamayi Ma, Anandamayi Ma, Anandamayi Ma, Anandamayi Ma. Om Ma Sharanam, Om Ma Sharanam, Om Ma Sharanam,
Om Ma Sharanam, Om Ma Sharanam,
Om Ma Sharanam, Om Ma Sharanam, Om Ma Sharanam, Om Ma Sharanam.
Om Ma Sharanam, Om Ma Sharanam, Om Ma Sharanam, Om Ma Sharanam,
Om Ma Sharanam, Om Ma.
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 Om Ma Sharanam, Om Ma Sharanam, Om Ma Sharanam, Om Ma Sharanam,
Om Ma Sharanam, Om Ma Sharanam, Om Ma Sharanam, Om Ma Sharanam, Om Ma Sharanam, Om Ma Sharanam, Om Ma Sharanam, Om Ma Sharanam, Om Ma Sharanam, Om Ma Sharanam, Om Ma
One last time together. Om Ma Sharanam. Om Ma Sharanam. Om Ma Sharanam. Om Ma So let's just sit quietly for a moment and feel Ma's presence with us. She is truly with us if we just tune into her inside. And we have Ma's own paduka here. These are the sandals that she actually wore on physically on her feet. Serene, I'm turning this sound. Okay. So we always like to start with something from Ma's life or something from different people's experience of Ma. And this is from a beautiful book. It's called Ma, the Eternal Friend by Brahmachari Vishuddha. Vishuddha is now in charge of Ma's Samadhi in Kankal. She's quite old. Which we were there last February. Yeah, I didn't see her there. Yeah, she literally grew up with Ma. She went to the Kanya Peeth, which is the girls' school that was founded by Didi, by Guru Priya Didi in Varanasi, and she was literally grew up with Ma. Ma coached her, and she lived her whole life in Ma's service. As far as I know, she's still in her body. And these are just a few random memories of what it was like to be in the Kanya Peeth. Ma, as we know, Ma traveled constantly for 50 years, from 1932 to 1982. But she would frequently come to Varanasi and take real personal interest in the girls of the Kanya Peeth and give them special instruction and stay there a lot. So here's Vishuddha's own words. A famous Mahatma had said, just as the earth provides for each plant the substance necessary for its growth, so does Anandamayi Ma guide every aspirant according to his or her individual uniqueness. Unquote. It was the experience of thousands that she had the right word at the right time for every seeker after truth. Ma has said, as you sound this body, so you will hear it. She says she's a drum, as you play her, she will hear. Ma used to address the girls of the Kanya Peeth as friends. All of us students had serial numbers for our desks and clothes, etc. Ma therefore had the serial number 1 as a chief Kanya among us. On a summer morning in Kishanpur, that's the ashram in Dehradun, Ma, instead of putting on her usual clothes after her bath, donned a robe like a long frock and came downstairs. I was attending on her at the time. She said, now I'm going to play with my friends, so I've dressed like them too. and she smiled like a beautiful little girl at me. One summer in Varanasi, I was preparing the evening tiffin for the girls with some ordinary sour mangoes. I added salt, sugar, and green chilies to the peeled mangoes. Then I tasted it and found it to be very good. I immediately took one dish of the mangoes to Bunidi, asking if I could offer them to Ma because they were so tasty. Bunidi took me to Ma's room and said, Ma, Vishuddha has brought some mangoes for you. Ma expressed great pleasure at the sight of the dish as if she had been waiting for it. She ate a little of it and said it was tasty. Then she said, this body as a child used to make sour mangoes like this and used to enjoy the dish. Bunidi therefore tasted a little of the prasad and exclaimed that the mangoes were too sharp and sour for Ma. Next day, Ma ordered 2 baskets of sweet mangoes and had them distributed to us in her own room, saying, my friend has fed me, so I should also feed them. One day, a party of 20 or 25 students with their teachers came for Ma's darshan at the Varanasi ashram. They recited some Sanskrit hymns in front of Ma. The teachers asked Ma a few questions. Ma then asked Dadabai, that's what they call Guru Priya Didi, who was Ma's main assistant for over 50 years. Ma then asked Dadabai to fetch some kishmish, that's raisins, from the puja room of the Kanyapit. Dadabai knew that the girls offered only sugar puffs, patasa, and puja, which was kept in a receptacle as prasad to be distributed to chance visitors. She tried to give a hint to Ma that there would be no kishmish but patasa only. But since Ma insisted on the kishmish, Dadabai approached the girls and made inquiries, believing that when Ma had expressed a khayal for kishmish, then they must be available. This turned out to be the case. A rich devotee had recently given a large amount of raisins for the daily puja to the girls of the Kanyapit. So a sufficient amount was given to Dadabai, who questioned Ma. Ma, I was so sure that there would be no kishmish. How did you know so that you insisted? Ma smiled and said, Bhikkhuni, the girls offer kishmish to me every day, and I take it, so I know. In other words, they were doing a puja of Ma's photo, but she was receiving it, and so she knew. Ma was tender as a flower, but at times could be hard as a thunderbolt. Ma had occasion to take some girls to task one day. The girls immediately started to cry. Ma then spoke very sternly. All of you have come here to me. If you do not try to improve yourselves, if you do not think that Ma is my very own, and that she can say anything which is good for us, then what is the use of joining this institution? There should be no quarreling amongst yourselves. You should obey the elders and observe all the rules of the ashram. In case of wrongdoing, punishment is to be accepted. Ma was very clear regarding the nature of punishments also. According to her, more hours of japa or mona, silence, or to be kept standing, or to be given one vegetable only with the main wheel were some instances of punishment. One day, Ma was passing through the veranda of the Kanyapit in Varanasi. She saw quite a lot of grains of rice in the drain. She stopped and made inquiries. One of the inmates, due to inexperience, had washed away a lot of the grains. Ma said that the anna, the rice grains, which was given in charity, should never be carelessly wasted. She wanted that one should eat of those rice grains lying in the drain if any such future occasion arose. This was a statutory lesson for the careless one. So like she's saying, like Vishuddha is saying here, Ma was so merciful, but she was very strict. She had very high standards. The bar was and is very high in Ma Sampradaya. She expects a lot of us. And when we fail, she expects us to repent to try to do better. She's always merciful, but she really expects of the people who come to her. Going back to Vishuddha, we remember many occasions when Ma supervised the serving of delicacies to Kanyapit girls. It was an experiencing of a mother's love for us. She created a family atmosphere in the Kanyapit, which was quite unusual and rewarding for all of us. Once we accompanied Ma to Patna. From Patna, Ma and 3 of us went by car to Rajgir. It was a memorable journey. We squeezed ourselves at our feet in the back of the car. Ma went on telling us her reminiscences of her previous visit to Rajgir. When the driver stopped the car, we got out and walked along the country road with Ma. Can you imagine how beautiful? Someone had given a big basket of lychees. Ma gave us great pleasure by sharing the summer fruit with us. During the journey, we came across one bridge which had suffered a slight damage in an accident the previous night. The police manning the bridge allowed the vehicles to proceed in a single, slow-moving line. When our turn came, Ma spread out her arms and held us in her protective embrace throughout the time it took the car to go past the danger zone. There was no danger of our falling out of the car and over the bridge, but we did enjoy the experience of Ma's care and concern. Like a mother hen putting out her wings and chickens to come underneath.
Want to be a chicken?
Yeah. On one New Year's Day in Vaisakha, Ma was in Varanasi. I stayed awake the whole of the previous night, making a specially long and thick garland with white, fragrant mogra flowers. Ma came to our puja room on that day and graciously accepted the puja of the girls. She looked pleased with the beautiful garland. When she was garlanded with it, she drew in all of us within a circle, and all of us, approximately 25 of us, were united together in a circle of flowers. Ma said with a smile, "My friends have tied me with flowers." Isn't that beautiful? See, little memories like this are so beautiful. You know, Ma didn't work miracles and make the sun stop shining and all this stuff. Her miracles were the miracles of love and care and concern, and totally transforming people's lives. It was a daily miracle. And we were fortunate to have Ma as our true friend and also the most loving mother possible. Such experiences were made possible by Guru Priya Didi, our Dadabai. She was most indefatigable about collecting funds, clothes, utensils, etc., for the little girls living in the ashram. She taught us to take care of Ma's personal things and also how to be of service to her. Dadabai's attitude of awe and reverence for the least of Ma's Kiel and her meticulous rendering of service was the example for us. Excuse me. It's true. Guru Priya Didi was so kind and loving, but very stern when it came to Ma's service. If there was any slight lapse in Ma's service, she was so strict. I was one time in the Delhi ashram, and we could hear her yelling from one side of the other, the ashram to the other, going, bah, 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 because somebody had neglected something in Ma's service. And she was like, bringing it to their attention real strong. But same thing, at the same time, everybody loved Didi so much. If Ma was pleased with us, she, Didi, would be so proud. Another affectionate person was our beloved Didi Ma. This is Ma's mother, Didi Ma, Swami Muktananda, who was the mother of all of us devotees of Ma. And she was as if love personified. She gave initiation to the girls of the Kanyapi, because Ma always said this body doesn't give Diksha to anyone. In the early days, it was either Bholanat, Ma's husband, or Bhayaji, and Ma would be present, and people would feel the mantra came from Ma. Excuse me. And then in 36, when Bhayaji left his body, Didi Ma took sannyas, and then Didi Ma gave the Diksha in Ma's name. It was only after Didi Ma left her body in 1970 that Ma herself began giving Diksha in a very interesting way. She manifested an interesting way to give Diksha. So I received Diksha directly from Ma. I think the people here from Ma. So it was very fortunate, because only at the end of Ma's life did she herself start to give Diksha. So he's talking about Didi Ma. Another affectionate person was our beloved Didi Ma. She was as if love personified. She gave initiation to the girls of the Kanyapi. She was soft, patient, gentle, and concerned about every one of us. We treated her like a beloved grandmother. We played holy with her and listened to her songs and stories. What an opportunity to listen about Ma's childhood from her own mother. And she was from birth, she was a great saint. She was a great illumined saint, really a knower of God. Ma one time said that a saint such as Didi Ma is born only once in centuries. And she said one thing particular about Didi Ma is she had all the yogic powers, she had all this stuff, but she chose to keep everything hidden within her. And she was just a meek, humble little lady who just, and after her husband's passing away, her whole thing was she just traveled with Ma, and she always had Ma in her vision. She would sit near Ma and just have her eyes on Ma at all times. That was why she took sannyas, to be with Ma. And she gave dikshas to so many hundreds of people. Many times people would see her doing japa on her mala. And she would say, Didi Ma, why are you doing japa? You're a knower of God. And she said, I'm doing the japa for the month, doing the mantra for the people I've given diksha to who don't do their mantra. So I'm doing it for them, so there won't be any problem with them. So she would do her mantra for her disciples. Every day she blessed us when we did pranam to her and gave us a little bit of sweets. I feel thrilled whenever I think of my days in the Kanyapit, as if we were forever bathing in the confluence of the three sacred rivers, the Ganga, which was Ma, the Saraswati, which is Didi Ma, and the Yamuna, which was Dadabai. Isn't that beautiful? So I want to do one more quick reading. Let's look at some practical words of Ma, just one paragraph, and we can think of these wonderful instructions from Ma. This is from the diary of Atmananda, who was a wonderful Austrian lady who came to Ma at the beginning of World War II from Austria and stayed the rest of her life with Ma and later took sannyas. And I knew her. In fact, the last private I had with Ma, Atmananda translated for me. So this is Ma's words. She says, she stresses so many times, try to remember God all the time. This is the cure for breaking the knots of the heart. Remember God and forget our little small selves. Ma says, meditate on God at all times, whatever you are doing, wherever you are. Remember that whatever you see, whatever you hear is He alone. Pain exists because you believe yourself to be separate. Don't consider anyone as separate from yourself. Regard everyone as your friend. Remember that you are God's yantra, that's an instrument, and that He is moving you. Dedicate yourself entirely to Him. Feel at all times that He is moving you and doing everything through you. Even when you walk, feel that He is moving your legs. Whatever work you do, offer to Him. Then you will be incapable of any baseness, for how can you offer anything ugly to your beloved? Now, it says He, masculine, but Ma is using the gentlest pronoun, va, or vo. So Ma frequently referred to God as either mother or father. Surrender entirely to Him. What does this mean? The little knowledge that you have, you give up to Him, and in return, because you have emptied yourself, He will give you all. Remember that you are out to know who you are. The japa, the monthly repetition, is the sound of Brahman, God, His own swarupa, His own essential form. So when you do japa, you are with Him. This is true satsang. Therefore, keep it up all the time. Meditate on the oneness of all, of everything. There can be nothing outside of Him. Everything that is necessary to make up the world is He alone. So don't see anything as apart from Him, who is your own self. As the perfume of the flower spreads through the air, so will the fragrance of God produced by your daily practice be transported on the wind into the world at large. Isn't that wonderful? Masbits. So we're going to go to the reading from Pragya's book, but now let's sing. We don't have too many words to overpower people. So let's have a satsang now from our dear sister Katya, who is in Portugal, and she'll sing us a nice Ma satsang. And we can sing along with her and remember Ma's presence.
Yes, thank you. So today I will sing the Anandamayi, Chaitanyamayi, Satyamayi, Parami. So you are welcome.
Turn up your volume. You have your sound system a little more. Make it a little bit soft still.
Okay. Is it better?
Try again.
Okay, better?
That's better. Okay. Thank you.
You're welcome. Anandamayi, Chaitanyamayi, Satyamayi, Parame. Anandamayi, Chaitanyamayi, Satyamayi, Parame. Anandamayi, Chaitanyamayi, Satyamayi, Parame. Anandamayi, Chaitanyamayi, Satyamayi, Parame. Anandamayi, Chaitanyamayi, चैतन्यमयी सत्यमयी परमे आनन्दमयी 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 चैतन्यमयी सत्यमयी परमे सत्यमयी परमे सत्यमयी परमे ॐ श्री श्री आनंदमाई मात की जय।
So beautiful. Thank you very much, Counselor. Beautiful. You really, I can encourage you, you should get some musicians and start a group and do kirtan all over.
Yes, I'm thinking about that. So thank you.
Very beautiful. Thank you so much. Okay, now let's so we've read some of Ma's words, we've read some of Ma's events in Ma's life, which is always nice. Just it's so nice just to see how Ma reacted to people, how she led people, how people responded to her. But now we want to read some more from Pragya's book. For those who haven't got it yet, well, Pragya can explain it to you. But I will say, Pragya, I'm glad it's so reasonably priced. It's only like $20 a volume. I've given I work at Ramagiri Ashram, and their guru Eknatheshwar and Christine met Ma and loved Ma very much. So I donated both volumes to them, and they love it, and they're all passing it around. I've been invited to teach and sing at Shivananda Ashram in Grass Valley in November for Thanksgiving. I'm going to give them 2 copies, and I'm doing the New Year's Eve concert and teaching classes at the Shivananda Bahamas in December. So I'm going to give them copies too. So wherever I go, I'm handing out copies. So Pragya?
You're doing a great job. Thank you, Chema. So today we'll be reading from volume 1 of the Gospel of Sri Anandamayi Ma.
There are a few people here for the first time, so why don't you just give a brief synopsis of how this came about, okay?
Okay, so at Harvard University, there's a divinity school, and through a series of Ma's miracles, a couple whose son had been very close to Ma. Gadadhar is his name, an Oklahoma kid who had been in Ma's ashram. He had collected a lot of these tapes and other things of Ma. And this is, and what happened is he died very sadly and tragically at a young age. And his parents seemed to really understand how important Ma was. They had gone to visit her and had beautiful darshan. And so they donated all of these things that he had been collecting of Ma's talks that were on, little video cassettes, little audio cassettes, and he donated them to the Harvard Library. So I happened to be there on the day it was being cataloged. And I just realized that it was no accident that it was there and that I knew it was there. And so I wrote my dissertation based on those archives and going to India. But at the same time, I realized that there were all these tapes that hadn't been really published. And these are sort of the raw talks that Ma gave between 1960 and 1980. So many years later, namely 8 years ago, I decided to go back to the library, listen to the tapes again, retranslate them because they've been sort of poorly translated, I would say. And it turned out to be 900 pages of conversation. Thus, it is in 2 volumes. And what we're reading today is from Varanasi in May 1968. And it's conversations, some of them more formal, where there's many devotees and Ma's sort of answering questions, and others that are quite informal. And sometimes, which is what I did today, I just open up the book and say, what does Ma want us to read today? Like that. And that's how we came up with the reading for today. The questioner says, the Lord wants and loves us, but why don't we have any wish to find him? Shri Ma, why did you change your clothes? And she laughs. Why do you have so many questions? What is the necessity? There's a lot of joking around in these tapes. Questioner, I didn't get it. I did not get the truth. Shri Ma, to get that truth and that longing for him, one should attend satsang. Satsangs, bhajans, and the spiritual atmosphere are meant for that purpose alone. Have you seen any mother teaching her child how to walk? What does she do? She makes that child stand in one place and then asks him to walk. When the child starts falling, she runs and grabs him to prevent the fall. We must say that all of these teachings are given only by her. God is our mother. She wants us to walk on our own and teaches us how. We are all her children. It is she who is imparting all of this education to us. There's no doubt about it. We try to be true and make efforts towards that. Who shows us the light? She only. There are infinite lights, but all those lights merge in one. There are many ways of taking us toward one goal. There is one in the infinite and infinite in the one, simply because we are all only her children. See the forms? They are her forms. The formlessness in a formless thing is she only. We say anitya, non-eternal, but in this anitya, nitya, the eternal, is there. The world means gati, or motion, and jiva, the individual soul, means bandha, bondage. The jiva is in bondage, and the jagat is in perpetual motion, the world. But you see, this motion is not in the world, it is within us. Gati, motion, is not what you think. It is true that it does not remain in one place. Transition and movement are there. At the same time, there is that eternal who is imperishable and never ending. There is no question of gati, of movement with him. But the longing that you have to reach the eternal through motion is really the longing of God, the mother. Just as the mother wants her baby to walk and reach her, and that longing of hers inspires her child to take its first steps, The longing of Mother God inspires the jiva, the soul who is in bondage and motion, to take steps towards her. Then how can you say that you do not have any longing for her? The truth is that until that Paramasati, supreme destination, in which the question of gati and agati, movement and lack of movement, does not arise, and that Paramanitya, the supreme eternity, is touch, and that Avinashi, imperishable, is manifested, he does not come to light. Therefore, this pilgrimage, the spiritual pilgrimage that you have started, is due to her inspiration only. Only one who's inspired by her starts this journey. It is she who wants it, it is she who gives it, and it is she who comes to us. We are all her children, her eternal children. But we are just infants, innocent kids. The light we have is her light only. That light only appears to be different in different people. This too requires training, and this is the training given by the mother. In case you think of God as Father, it is the training given by the Father. If you have faith in Sri Krishna or Sri Rama, take this training to be given by him. It is in the world where this giving, taking, and finding takes place. And today you have this question: why don't I know how to find that eternity? This body must say that this question is itself his light. He is manifested to you in the form of this question, because once he is seen, there will be no questions at all. Jai Ma.
Wow. There's so much content in that. It's hard to even think. Okay, tell us your thoughts about this, Prajna. What are your thoughts about this reading? You have to unmute.
There's this moment where she's saying it's all happening within us. It's not outside there. The mother is within us, pushing us forward. And I think I really sort of like, it really struck me that I don't think I've ever really thought about that before. The mother is within, pushing me along. And I love that she's saying, I love it when she says, if you believe in Krishna, then it's Krishna. If you believe in the Father, then it's the Father. Her teaching is always so inclusive and so generous. So there's, whatever is your path is the path for you. There's only one destination. She makes that really clear in this reading. And of course, don't we all love it when she says the answer is to go to Satsang, and here we are. So those are just some thoughts.
Yeah, thank you. What struck me was, a lot of things struck me, but she says within that gati, that's not really outside, it's in us. The movement of the world, the constant movement of the world is something that we're perceiving within us. It's not really happening. I think it's just so much esoteric stuff that she says, just, so briefly, you can just skip over it. So beneath all the motion of the world, beneath this gati, this movement of the world, is the stillness of God at all times, if we can just sink into that. Wow. That's so much. It's true. I love the way Ma always brings everything back to unity. We sing this Ma Chalisa every day and our lineage. And there's so many beautiful names. One of the names given to Ma is Gata Gata Vasi, the dweller in everyone's heart. And also it says, Chira Advaita Dvaita Tamanashini. You are the preacher of Advaita, non-duality, and the destroyer, Nashini, of duality. So Ma always brings everything back to this unity, this one light, this one consciousness that pervades everything. So amazing.
Wow. Well, Mangalanandaji, when you read earlier of Ma's words right at the beginning of Satsang, you said that she said, in the midst of that you should be still and reflect, and then in the midst of emptiness, I am with you.
Yeah.
That's that stillness that she's speaking of. So within us is both the world of motion that we're projecting out and participating in, but also the stillness is within us, the emptiness is within us. So I love that when you read that earlier.
it's true we can go back in these readings and read them over and over and over and just find more and more every time. It's just Ma spoke with such profound depths. There was one conversation, it's in one of the Bengali's diaries, where because people were, as you see in these beautiful satsangs we have now with Ma, and people should understand what a contribution these two books are to the literature we have on Ma. We have these whole full satsangs of Ma speaking. It's such an amazing contribution. We're so excited and so grateful about it. But there was one conversation, we see how these things, the devotees would play with Ma. They say, "Oh Ma, why do you want us to do this? I don't want to do this." They would play with Ma. And there was one man who said, "Now, is it true that there's a mother that's not our physical mother, but it's our spiritual mother that really cares for us?" And of course he was talking about Ma, and Ma says, "Yes, there is." And then he said, "Well, why is it our normal mother, just our physical mother, just feeds us and loves us and doesn't require that much of us? How come this mother is so strict?" And Ma replied, she says, "It's because this eternal mother wants to give everything to her children, wants to impart all her virtues, all her divine consciousness, all her blessings, all her treasures to her children. But that requires great purification on their part." So like I say, Ma is doing everything. At the same time, there's a part that we're supposed to do also that's required of us, and we can't get out of it. There's no way to get out of it. And that is doing these things, having this satsang, thinking of her, studying her words, and then trying to put them into practice. Manishi talks about doing japa of God's name and always remembering the presence of God. Always, we think of Ma as Ma. However you think of God, we think of God as Ma. So we think of Ma being everywhere at every moment. So yeah, that's our part. Anything else, Prajna?
No, I just wanted to say that I'm not sure exactly when this is going to happen, what the logistics will be, but I am hoping that we can have some discussion groups of these satsangs, and we'll pick up passages and we'll just go line by line, because as you said, she will throw something in there in this, what some people call samadhi bhasha, like this twilight language that she speaks in a very esoteric way. And all of a sudden you're like, wait a second, what was that sentence that I just read? So wouldn't it be fun if we could do that together, and we'd have an assignment for the week or whatever, and then we would all be prepared to talk about our questions and our insights from what we're reading. So that's soon coming.
Good, that's a great idea. Wonderful, wonderful. We should all think of ways we can serve Ma and do these things. Wonderful. Yeah, and later, and all of you present here now with us, later in just a little bit, we'll have an open discussion and people can bring up subjects, talk about Ma and any questions and anything, any thoughts you've had hearing these wonderful readings. Also, we want to hear. So we'll do that shortly. I was just something you said just made me think of it also. Yeah, Ma would say things just in passing that were so profound. Our Swami Bhaskaranaji was all the same way. Swami Bhaskaranaji was Ma's, you could say Ma's main Swami for many, many, many years. He was with Ma, and he was given the power and the authority to give Diksha in Ma's name after she left her body. She trained him for that and told him how to do it. And we spent a lot of time with him especially the last 10 years of his life. He was such a beloved soul. He was a perfect, great yogi, but just completely egoless child. So wonderful. And he was the same way. You'd be sitting with Swamiji and he would be so gentle and so natural, and you were so at ease, and he would just say something, blah, 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 blah. And suddenly you think about, what did he just say? Wow. It'd be so profound. You have to go back and say, Swamiji, well, can you tell us more about that? You could just skip over because he was in this deep state of consciousness, but he was just so egoless and so sahaja, so natural that you could miss it. Ma was the same way. Ma would, like mother, like son. Ma would just say these amazing things. So we could just study them. Yeah.
That made me think, Mangalanandaji, of the time that we went. I don't know if you can think of what year that is, but we went to Ashok Baba. Ashok Baba was a great devotee of Ma's who lived in Pune, and Mangalanandaji and I went and interviewed him about his experiences with Ma. He was very, very close to Ma. And the stories he told were so out of this world that I think we were sort of, I mean, he'd heard them before, I had not. They were sort of, we were in shock, especially this one where he talks about Ma becoming Lalita, the great goddess, red from head to toe, you know, everything, her hair, her fingernails and everything, and then spouting these mantras and giving him initiation into this long sadhana. And 2 weeks later, he and his wife, who had both been there, had to, were asked to, could they repeat what she had said? And they said, no, we can't do that. That was 2 weeks ago. But lo and behold, they were able to repeat every word because she had given a direct transmission. So we listened to a cycle of maybe 10 of those stories from Ashok Baba. And then we got into a rickshaw to go back to our hotel. And I remember we looked at each other and said, did that really happen? Was this real? Because it was just so out of this world. The experience of someone who had been often just he and his wife and Ma together on some Ajnatva trip. So yeah, there's a lot to take in, and sometimes we have to read it again or think about it again.
Yeah, but it's all there percolating deep in our subconscious. Yeah, I remember we got back to the rickshaw. I was looking at you like, wow. We were like, and you still got that on your iPad. I hope. Prajna and I were thinking of writing a book, planning on writing a book. Ma has
yes,
seen.
it's all on my iPad.
Good. Our plans are sometime to write a book, Ma as seen by her Mahatmas, and she has recordings of interviews she did earlier for her earlier book she didn't use, and then we recorded several people, and we were there at that trip, and she was in India. I was living in India. Yeah, so God willing, if we have time, one day maybe we'll write that book together too. Oh, but going on about this, these 2 volumes of now the Gospel of Sri Anandamayi Ma, what's so amazing is the few of us here who are with Ma. I know several people were with Ma. When we were with Ma, we didn't know what she was saying. Now I speak Hindi, but then I didn't speak Hindi or Bengali, and the Indians would say, "Oh, you foreigners come at so much trouble to come and sit with Ma. You don't know what she says." And we were just so happy. She imparted so much to us just by seeing her. But like, I specifically know what Ma told me. I mean, she gave me very specific practice, and I had several privates with Ma. I would ask her and clarify things, and so I knew what her instructions to me were. But these wonderful satsangs are new to me, also new to all of us who were with Ma, because we didn't have the ability to understand her at the time. So it's such a contribution to the literature we have in Ma. It's so wonderful. So we do encourage, go on Amazon. They're only $20 a shot. It's called The Gospel of Sri Anandamayi Ma, and it's just a wonderful thing to read every day and just hear how Ma speaks, the playful way she speaks, and the profound truths that she expresses in such a simple and homely way. It's so beautiful.
Christopher Pegler bless you, Christopher. He just put on our chat a link to the story of Ashok Baba that we were just speaking of.
Good.
You'll see. It looks like it's a YouTube video. Is that right, Christopher?
On YouTube, you can find a lot of Ashok Baba's satsangs in both Hindi and English. We were very fortunate to have company with him. He was a wonderful, wonderful saintly man. He just passed away, a year or so ago, and he's the patron of our Ma Sharanam ashram. We came under his patronage, and his ashes are there in the courtyard of our ashram. And he visited many times, and he
would give satsang in English at the ashram.
He would come. We were there in the mornings. He would give satsang in the big hall to all the Indians, and I would sit. And we had several Westerners with us, and I would sit and listen in Hindi and take notes, and then tell the Westerners. And then he was kind enough in the evenings. We would go out in the ante room where his room was, and he would come out and speak in English to the Westerners. And he was so wonderful, and we were so fortunate to have his satsang. Great soul, great humble but wonderful soul. Yeah. Okay, so let's do one more kirtan, and we always do this because we get Ma now gives darshan through her photos, and I meet so many people throughout the world in my travels who came up to me and say, "I have a picture of Ma, and she suddenly came alive and spoke to me." She still touches people through her photos. So Randy, I'm turning the sound right. I'm going to do share screen. So we'll sing a kirtan, Jati Jaya Jaya Ma, Purna Brahma Narayani Ma, and look at Ma's photos. If I can find it. True. Somebody's not coming down.
Just show it, did you see?
I know, but I can't find it now. This is. Oh, I just have to start over. I had it up. Sorry for the technical delay here. PC slideshow. Okay, I think we got it now. So Jaya Jaya Ma, please do sing with us and have Darshan and Ma's Jaya Jaya Ma, 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 Jaya Ma, Jaya Ma, Jaya 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 Ma, 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 Purna Brahma Narayani Ma, Purna Brahma Narayani Ma, Purna Brahma Narayani Ma, Purna Brahma Narayani Ma, Purna Satya Swarupini Ma, Purna Satya Swarupini Ma, Purna Satya Swarupini Ma, Purna Satya Swarupini Ma, Dayamai Ma, Karunamai 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 Sri Anandamayi Ma ki jai. Om Bhavata Pavanashaya Ananda Ghanamurtaye Jnana Bhakti Pradayane Matasmyam Namo Namaha. So now let's open up the the floor, so to speak. To any discussion, sharing you like, but now we have a short time. We want to keep it on the subject of Anandamayi Ma and her teachings and her life, but anything within that, how you relate to Ma, how you came to Ma, like thoughts and discussion on the readings today, anything. So, Rainey, what's the best way we have people? Yeah, there's a thing, react. Yeah, on the bottom of your screen, there's a thing called reactions. You
And
click
then
on this little
raise hand. Yeah.
ready to call you.
Yeah.
Any hands up?
No hands up.
Surely people have something to think about and say. All the information we've had today. Nothing?
There's a hand up on the screen from David Herring's.
Dave, is that you?
It's me, Linda. I
Oh.
wanted to say that, you know, I felt her with me several times this week. It was very nice. That I felt at the end of Ma. Like one time it was when I initially woke up. Yeah. So sometimes I can feel her. It's her.
Really good. She says she's always with us. If we just look within, she's there. It's really wonderful. Yeah. I can tell you my own experience. I experience Ma much more deeply and profoundly now than when I saw her as an external person. She's always right there, behind my consciousness. And we just turn inward and look, she's right there sitting, listening to us and guiding us.
It feels like she's more there when I read her words. Like that's why Pragya's book has been such a blessing. She's in those words. And so like if we read them at night, the next day she's there, like that.
Yeah, Gloria and I recently did a retreat, a week-long retreat. We do it once a year. We go to different places and we're just by ourselves, and we've just been a week during our sadhana. I was in the Vedanta Society retreat center, beautiful place in the country, just all alone for a week, just doing my sadhana and meditating. And you were saying you felt Ma's presence going that in that time. Yeah, it's good. Yes, who hands?
We have several hands up now. So we're going to start with Randy, and then we have 3 more after that.
Good.
Jai Ma, this is Kaya from California, who's in the Berkshires. I just wanted to say that when I was having some extreme health problems in India when I lived there, I studied dance and music in India for 4 years. And when I was going through a really severe health challenge, I was reading a book of Ma, and I felt her getting me through all of my hospital experiences and all of my challenges. I just felt like she was with me. It was something, it was a book that was something like The Mother as Revealed to Me, something like that. And I don't remember the name of the author. Yes, so I really felt her during that time, and I do believe she got me through. And really was like, I almost felt like the doctors who were handling me, she was the puppeteer and they were the puppets, just kind of, she was sort of propelling their movements. And it was just very powerful. And also when Prajna was reading from the book, because I don't have the text in front of me, I don't know if this is what was said, but I felt, or if it was implied, but I felt like when we go to do sadhana, what I heard was, whatever our sadhana is, when we go to do that, that it is God bringing us, it is Ma bringing us back to her, it is God bringing us back. Like there's some kind of, I don't know if reciprocity is the right word, but there is, I'm being, and we are all being kind of reeled back in. I don't know if that was implied. Obviously, those were not the words, but it hit me as an aha that, wow, it's not just the yearning on this end. There's a yearning on the other end for us to come together. So, Jai.
Thank you. It's a beautiful sharing. Thank you. That's so true. Everything is grace. The fact that we can do sadhana, the fact that we know about sadhana. I always say a person can't even step on this path until grace touches their heart and they want to. It's all Ma telling us. It's really true. And it is beautiful to think about. It chokes you up, chokes me up too. To think about Ma does long for us. And she ignites our longing. That's really true. I'm just mind me sharing a story also reminds me of Ma getting you through health problems and also Ma giving you health problems. I lived in India for 12 years, and one time I woke up in the morning, I was in Omkareshwar, which is way in the countryside, and I was so sick I couldn't move. And at that time, I was up in my room and people didn't notice I wasn't there for like 3 days. So I lay there for 3 days without being attended to, without getting any food. And finally, the next morning I woke up and I was strong and I felt a little stronger. So I thought, I've got to get on the bus and get to Indore. We have an ashram in Indore also where I can get to a doctor. So I struggled up and didn't even tell anybody. I just stumbled to the bus stop, got on the bus, and I was driving into Indore. Now, Swami Bhaskarnanji was coming to visit us in a few weeks from that time. And he had written me ahead and said, prepare yourself. In fact, I think Christopher Pegler was there at the time. He was going to give me a Naishtika Brahmacharya initiation, which is initiation in the Gayatri mantra. And I changed the color of my clothes. And it was a very major point in my life. So as I was sitting on the bus, driving to Indore, I literally could see Ma sitting in my heart. I could see the expression changing in her eyes. And she was inside, and she was wordlessly asking me, how much can you take? How much can I turn up the volume? Turn up the grill here, the heat. She was letting me, because I was going to go through a major initiation, and I was like, it was a preparation for it, it was a purification for it. So I just said, okay, Ma. So I got to the ashram, I stumbled in my room and flashed down, had malaria, terrible. I went through such suffering in those days. I didn't know a person could still be alive and feel that bad. It was so horrible. But I felt the whole time Ma was totally there as the fever, as the chills, at one point I went through, I literally would have died if Swami Kedarnath hadn't come and kept my prana in my body. And it was what I needed. And I had this clarity of thought in the time. I was like, boy, there was no consolation. So I could just see everything. I got to be careful about this and live up with this initiation and this practice will be given to me. And so then when Swami Bhaskarnanji came, I was over it, but I was so weak, somebody to help me down the stairs just to meet him. But it was Ma, I experienced it all. I didn't believe it all. I experienced it all as Ma herself, as that illness, purifying me so I could take this next step in my spiritual life. It was wonderful time. But Ma is tough. I know somebody always says, Ma's playing hardball with you. Okay. So Ma will play hardball with us sometime. But thank you for that sharing. It's really true. Ma is the yearning innocence. She yearns for us too, which is an incredible thing to think. Incredible thing to think. It's really true. Thank you for that beautiful story. Yeah, somebody else at home.
Yeah, Jai Ma. Next we have Arpita Ji. Has her hand up.
Oh, so the way I hear it is, or the way I interpret it, is the self longing for the self merging with the self. But of course, Ma is the figure, the embodiment of the self in our case. But it's an easy way to access the self because, the larger self, because it's such an abstract concept. It's emptiness, as they say, shunyata. And that's too formidable to do or to rock. So we relate to Ma because of that. But the way I really think of it is the self longing for the self. And one thing that comes to mind too, I have this towel from Ma that I got. It's almost in shreds, actually. And it was sort of ripping in the middle, so I gave half to Robert. For a long time, I didn't really, I sat and meditated with it. I did meditate with it, but now I have it next to my bed. And whenever I'm going through a difficult time, their fear comes up or panic comes up or some negative emotion that overwhelms me or is close to overwhelming me, I take that towel and I put it on my chest or I put it on my face, and I sometimes put it over my my whole face, and then do japa. So yeah. So just you know, we're in the body, we're in the physical body. And so to understand it's the self calling to the self or wanting the self is right. But at the same time, because we're in this material plane, we need to have some reference point that is also material. So it's like the towel or the sandals or the pictures. And of course, those who were fortunate enough to be with Ma, you know, have that memory or that subconscious or unconscious experience that remains. But also, like I never really understood, except for like you, that when we got the instructions and Diksha, and also write, you know, letters, because I got letters from her in addition to having the privates. I had no idea any of this, like all these volumes, 900 pages, like, and I think it's really for the best for me that I didn't experience it through the intellect in a way, because I just absorbed it sort of like kinesthetically and sort of just like that, you know? And to me, that was much more, I mean, everybody gets what they need, right? Like everybody gets what they need in order to reach the self. And that for me was what I needed. But now that we have the words, I mean, it's also really great. But it's kind of hard to even understand sometimes what those words mean. For me, it was more of an experiential thing to sort of absorb or like just be like inundated and infused with it rather than reading it. Kind of. I don't know if I'm explaining myself right.
No, I totally
Anyway, those are my rants for the day. So thank you.
No, thank you. I mean, it's beautiful. These are great sharings. This is this is Satsang. It's just so wonderful. People are sharing these things. Yeah, it's true that we absorbed being with Ma. But now it's nice to read the words too, because they were inspiring. But I love about the book also is Ma so often just says, this will happen. You know, say the word, you will experience it. You know, she's very positive, very encouraging. Yeah. A couple of things. Well, yeah, and also in all traditions, you have this concept of the relics of the saints. In Christianity and Sufism and so many things. So like these physical sandals of Ma, it's really true. They're precious, precious objects that still hold Ma's vibration. So yeah, I could totally see putting the towel over your face. Like for the last, I don't know, 20 or 30 years of Ma's life, she always would wear a towel, a beautiful, just a big yellow bath towel. She could make it look like Paris fashion. She put it on and go like that, and it'd be elegant, you know. And she would very often give it to people and say, wear this in meditation. So a lot of people have. I had it for a while. I think that you wear a meditation that touched Ma. And again, it was that link, very much like you say, Arvita, it's so true. We're physical beings. We're not physical beings, we're spirit, but we're in this physical encasement. And these things really help. I was with a dear friend once in England. It was a Gujarati family in Manchester, Sanat Kumar Dave. And we would visit them every year when we were on tour. And his guru was Swami Chidananda, but like so many people, he had different gurus, but he had just totally devoted to Ma. And he spent a lot of time with Ma. And one time we were talking and he said, you know, up in my puja room, I have this whole bag of things that Ma wore, gave me, but I've never opened it. If you want to go open it, it's okay, you know. I said, yeah. So I went up and I just opened, there was this towel. And I opened it up and I put it against my face and it smelled like Ma. And it was just, it was a profound experience. It was just, I was just drunk. It was like Ma's presence just like flowed through me like oil, just from that physical object that she had touched. So yeah, the fact that we have these things is super important. We collect Shraddha, my friend Shraddha, who we were talking about, had a lot of stuff from Ma because she was close to Ma's brahmacharinis, and they would always just slip her stuff from Ma, you know. So one time she gave me a whole bunch of it when I was visiting America, and I brought it back to India, and we were there with Baba Kedarnath having satsang, and a lot of Ma's devotees were there, you know. So I had this whole bag of stuff, and we bring them out one at a time. Everybody go, oh God, I'm trying to touch it, you know. It was just this is kind of this love feast that went on, and we actually made what we call a Matri Smriti museum, a museum of Ma stuff. They made a beautiful marble room, and we have so much of Ma's things there, full sets of her clothes, some of her hair. We have a neem stick that she chewed on to clean her teeth with. That's the villagers use for a toothbrush that she chewed on and cleaned her teeth with. We had a lot of stuff from Ma, many pairs of her shoes and things. And you just walk in there, you sit in the middle of it, you just feel it from all sides. Oh yeah, it's like it's an amazing thing because Ma was in a sense vibrationalist because she was so beyond everything, but she did emit her being through her vibrations, the things she touched. So it's a wonderful thing. I think I've showed you before, the Bhakti Satsang people. My friend Haripriya, not the one who comes from Germany, but an American who many years ago, I put her ashes in the Ganga also. A wonderful, wonderful American devotee of Ma. She came in 1960. And she was also a Vaishnava. She loved Lord Krishna. And so one time she was in the Vrindavan ashram with Ma, and Ma was standing in one place for a long time talking to someone. For like 30 minutes, she was standing there talking. And when she left, Haripriya went up and dug up the sand that Ma was standing on and put it in a little vessel, because to her, like the dust of Vrindavan is also holy. So, and I have it now, my altar at home. It's the dust of Vrindavan that Ma stood on, you know, and it's got a power. Yeah. So these things definitely have a power, and they connect us. You know, we want to have that connection. Yeah, thank you, Arpita, for sharing that wonderful, that's real wonderful thoughts. Yeah. Someone else has something? We still have time.
Yes. Well, I wanted to say too that I absorb the way you guys absorbed in her physical presence. I absorb it from kirtan. So y'all's kirtan is where I get it from.
That's true. Kirtan is also a great imparting of power.
So that's my only experience with absorption.
You are a kirtan absorber. I can testify to that.
Okay, so thank you, Arpita, for sharing. And then next we have Sarah, Yana, and Hope.
I'm hearing okay. So this is sort of a personal experience with meeting Ma. I've been like a spiritual seeker for 30 years or something, and kind of just running and seeking like a million different paths, and my mind is kind of nonstop. And I encountered Ma last year through my friend Hope, who's here, who led me to Yana, who led me to Nanda. But the point is that this spinning of the mind has noticeably like slowed down since I got Ma. I guess I just wondered if anyone else has had this experience, because it does feel like very intense in that it's like, no, you need to stop, slow down, and really look at yourself in a pretty intense way. It's maybe even harsher than all of these other experiences, but then that stillness of God, I feel that more and more in the background of the harshness. So it's just been so unique in all my years of teaching, that this feeling of stillness. Yeah, I mean, it feels like kind of just the beginning of that. But I guess I'm curious if anyone else has had this.
Yeah, thank you, sir. Yeah. It's true that stillness is where Ma's presence, where we find Ma's presence. She is the motion itself. She's everything. But I think she said it in the talk that Pragya read, that You don't find it in the motion, you find it in the stillness. The stillness is behind the motion. And that's where you find Ma's presence. Yeah. And that's a product of meditation. It's just something that we have to do every day. When we meditate regularly, our consciousness sinks further and further back, and it goes further into stillness. And Ma said many times, try to sit as still as you can and be as still as you can. She said, just as muddy water spinning in a container, a glass container, will be muddy, but if you let it sit long enough, it'll settle and the water will be clear. So it is true. We learn how to settle our minds by concentrating on the object of meditation, whatever that may be. And Ma recommends with the breath also, and let the breath and the mind settle and still, and then we see that, we feel that stillness, and that's where Ma, that's her real home. Gata Gata Vasini, the dweller of all in all hearts. And like what Arpita said also, Ma many times said, this body is the self, this Atma in this body is the Atma in all. She said, yeah, people have come to their own self. And it's true, Ma was that. Ma was the embodiment of the pure Atma. There was no ego, there was nothing else there. There was no Ma there, really. There was just pure divine consciousness, which we all are inside, all covered up with impurities. So it is true, by clinging to Ma, our own awareness wakes up. And I've mentioned many times that I found that whenever Ma walked in the room, I try to just keep my eyes on her at all times. And by just my eyes resting on Ma, my own being would wake up in ways I'd never experienced before. So she is the awakener, because she is the self of the self. So it's true, we find ourselves. And she said many times, you find God, you find yourself. You find yourself, you find God. So this is one of her frequent sayings. Yeah. So yeah, we need to just keep working on finding that stillness. Yeah. Thank you, Sarah, for showing me that.
The discussion group that Prajna mentioned as well.
Good. That's gonna be a good thing, yeah.
Thank you. The next one is Julia or Shama.
Yes, thank you. So to follow up on the sharing of the value of stillness, I'm aware that when I was in Kankal with Ma, at each evening satsang, we kept silence for some time. We did a silent meditation. No photos, no song, simply sitting in silence. And I'm wondering how we would feel as a satsang to do this, to sit in silence for some time.
Yeah, well, we usually try to. We're a little late today, but we usually try to meditate the last few minutes together. And I agree, I think it's very important. Yeah.
Maybe more than just a few moments.
Yeah, we will. We were trying to do 10 minutes, but I think we can still do it. We have time. So yeah, so let's answer. I think was there another hand up right now?
No, that's it.
Okay, well, yes, that's you. Shama has introduced us into our next part of this program. But it is true. Those, that 8:45 to 9 the Mon time, it was always amazing to sit with Ma during that time. It was always, and the Samya Sapta also, we sit with Ma. In fact, I remember one time, I think I may have told the story before, how someone asked Ma, we're sitting meditating with closed eyes. What are you meditating on? And she said, I'm meditating on you. And it's true. It was Samya Sapta in Vrindavan. We were sitting meditating, and I noticed Ma was sitting there. It was like an hour meditation, and Ma was sitting there facing out. And I noticed her. I peeked with my eyes open. Her eyes were open, and she was looking at people one after the other. So oh my gosh! So I sat, and I could tell she was right over here. So I kept my eyes closed, and suddenly I just felt this total expansion of consciousness and bliss, and whoa! And I realized Ma's looking at me. So I kept my eyes closed. I kept meditating. And then it went down, and she moved on to the next person. And so she would, just her looking at you or us looking at her, it produced change in consciousness. Yeah, but it is true. Okay, so we have time now. We have we're just enough time. So let's sit for 10 minutes together. And if you don't mind, I'll talk us through the very beginning of it so we can just stay together, okay? So let's sit quietly and try to meditate the way Mom many times, she taught me, and the way she taught to many people. We sit and we make sure the spine is straight and the chest is raised, the body is erect. And we just take a deep breath and completely relax. We relax the body, because concentration comes from relaxed awareness. And we feel, I'm not this body. I'm the awareness of observing this body. And then we relax the mind and let it just unwind and relax and be at ease. We let that thinking process just stop, just become relaxed. And we step back and we feel, I'm not this mind or its emotions and thoughts. I am the awareness witnessing the mind. And we make sure our mind is resting in the present moment, just right here and now, resting in now, letting go of the past, the future, fully present in this moment. And then we observe the breath moving in front of us. And we don't control it, we just observe its natural rhythm as it's moving. Feeling its touch of the nostrils, feeling it going in and out, watching and observing the full length of each breath naturally. And then we add with the natural rhythm of the breath, we add whatever mantra or sound formula we're working with. So, for example, if we're saying Om Ma, as we breathe in, we mentally intone Om Ma. As you breathe out, Om Ma. Just going with the natural rhythm of the breath, feeling the mantra vibrating the breath, the breathing in Ma into and out of our heart. And we do this with full loving attention. We put love and feeling of personal bhava, personal movement of the soul with each repetition, so it's not mechanical. And we just continue like that. Ananda Ghanamurtaye Jnana Bhakti Pradayam Matasudham Sri Anandamayi Ma. So thank you all for coming. Oh, Pragya also sent both volumes to Indoor Ashram to Swami Kedarnath, the Baba. I know he would love, I'm sure he loves this very much. He's done so much translation, so much works of Ma's words. So I'm sure he's very happy with them. I just put it with a note from your spiritual son, Mangalananda. So I'm sure he's enjoying them too. So thank you all for coming and being with us on this every third Sunday we're here. Thank you, Pragya, for your wonderful reasons and for everyone sharing. And thank wonderful Katya for her kirtan and Rami for helping in seva. And we're here every third Sunday, and we're here to have community. We are community, Ma's community. We're here to help each other and inspire each other. So if you want to unmute and say hello, say goodbye. Well, for those of you in the Bay Area, we'll be doing kirtan in Sebastopol, October 14th at the Subud Hall. So please come if you're in the Bay Area. Yeah, come sing with us.
What's the Thanksgiving one?
That's in Grass Valley at Shivananda Yoga Farm.
Mm.
During the Thanksgiving retreat.
Oh, on Thanksgiving Day?
Yeah, I think they're there for several days. We're going up the day after. We're going up the Saturday morning. I'm teaching a class on mantras and doing the kirtan that night. Just Ramana and Gloria and I.
Great.
Yeah, come. Jai Ma, everyone. Thanks for coming.
Jai Ma.
Thank you.
Love to everyone.
Good to see everybody.
Thank you. Thank you. Namaste.
Jai Jai Shri Radhe. Radhe Radhe Radhe.
Radhe, Radhe.
Radhe.
Jai Ma.
Jai Ma.
Jai Ma.
Yeah, Pragya, if you have any contact with Greg, tell him we miss him at Satsang.
I'm going to call him right now, actually, because I'm.
Tell him we're thinking of him.
Nice to see you, Kathleen.
Jai Ma, thank you so much for having me. Thank you.
Okay.
And you, Valerie, up so late.
Yeah, Katya, thank you. That was a beautiful kirtan. So nicely done. You're really
Thank
beautiful.
you.
Really
Thank you.
adds.
Thank you for
Really
the
adds that we're all
opportunity to share.
doing, you're making a contribution. It's really good. It makes it more meaningful.
Jai
Thank
Ma,
you.
Mr. Tiku.
Jai Ma, all the best.
Oh yeah, Tikuji. Jai Ma. Very good. See everybody next month. Bye.